we doing today? This is normal, Mike. Seems like my face mic today. Going good. Scrimmage last night I thought was better. The guys on the team, I think, took some steps forward. I think it was just cleaner football, top to bottom, all around. Makes it easier to coach off of. The key is now just making sure guys are getting ready more into game mentality. So the scrimmage is better for being able to transition from one situation to the other. In a practice, you're like, okay, that's this drill, and everything in that drill is that. And in a game situations, it's going, you got to understand what situation you're in at all times. So a lot of little teaching for guys to do that, understand the situational aspect of football, where they need to be, what they need to get done, how they need to continue to improve. I think we did take some steps forward that way. It's on us quick. We only have three more practices at training camp. Today will be helmets. Friday will be just almost like just shorts and a T-shirt, walkthrough type practice. There's only 3 real practices at training camp. Then we're into game week. So, we got to have a little sense of urgency within our development of guys, because everybody, guys are at all different levels, but making sure that they're ready to go play. And get ready for the game. We're 12 days away. Fortunately, I think we're, got through the scrimmage. It was, see we get out to practice how guys feel today with minimal injuries, just some bumps and bruises. So, get the guys ready to play and staying healthy is obviously a huge part, especially a long season this year with the 3 bye weeks. With that, there'll be different opportunities for guys to get healthy during the course of the season, but it is spread out. So we just got to work to stay healthy and see the guys continually improve and take steps in the right direction.
Noah Banks announced over the weekend he had to medically retire from football. Randy Russell has been able to stay involved. Is there a path there for Noah?
We'll see. That's always a personal decision for everybody. We leave it up to those guys. There's always a path for them to be involved as much as they want, but it's up to them because it is a personal decision. A lot of guys struggle being around the team. Because they want to play, and it's kind of football's been taken away from them for medical issues. And other guys, I've had guys not be able to be around. I have guys that want to be around for a little bit, then can't. Guys that are just always around. Guys that become coaches. I think it's a very personal deal. No, you don't know. He was. I think in the spring, he didn't go through anything in the spring, trying to get himself healthy, and then he came to us and said he wanted to come back, and was excited to come back. And I think just, I think maybe it just took a toll on him a little bit, and just decided it wasn't in his best for his health long term in the future.
Had he done enough in fall camp that you guys were counting on him and fixing him into plans?
Oh yeah. He was in the rotation for us, so. But that's that stuff happens.
And then in the scrimmages, how do you as a coach kind of design it from first scrimmage to second scrimmage, what you're trying to look at situational wise?
Very set. We do a little more situational wise in the second scrimmage in terms of more like a realistic game. Everything every drive starts at a set field position in the first scrimmage, so you can make sure you hit everything. In the second scrimmage, you play more like a game. So wherever the ball, if the team, the punt, you got to punt in between series instead of just, doing it all at the beginning or doing a special teams scrimmage period and then team scrimmage period. The special teams are mixed in, so it's a little bit more game-like, and you have to transition from one to the next.
And how much are you trying to get ones versus ones or get new guys in?
We're all ones versus ones, and twos versus twos, but we rotate a lot of guys. There's a lot of 1.5s, and making sure the 1.5s are ready,
What were some of the highlights of yesterday's scrimmage that you really liked?
Boy, to me, I think just that it was cleaner. It was played cleaner. Because you can really coach off it then in situation. Just not like when there's a lot of MAs and broken plays, it's hard to coach. You get out of weird situations and weird things happen. So, a lot. We had a lot less missed tackles, which is good, because you got to be careful with how much you tackle with it, just within player safety. And so you're kind of managing how you do that and how you're teaching it and how you're practicing it. We had less missed tackles. But I thought overall that, the breakdowns weren't like massive breakdowns. Breakdowns were one or two guys, a mistake here or there that you can really coach, and then you can see what goes on. And then our coaching staff, we create adverse situations, you know what I mean? Of like, hey, we want to see this series, we're going to only see these type of defenses, or this series we're only run these formations so that we can get the calls we need and kind of coach it through game situations offensively and defensively.
Where's Felipe made the most growth these 15 or so practices?
I just think he's comfortable with the offense. You know what I mean? And so now, though, it's going to be a transition. He's comfortable with the offense. Now it's really applying it, and be able to apply it on game day. Because, starting next Monday, we're going to go against, a defense where you go 40 practices. I guess you take game week away, 35 practices that we've just gone against our offense against our defense. And now we're going to get ready to go against a different defense. So now you got to take all the stuff you've learned and your knowledge of the offense and apply how we're going to use it to attack Miami.
Do you one of the things we talked to him the other day was about explosive plays, like really getting downfield. Do you see with this receiving core and his development a lot more opportunity there?
Well, I think him managing allows that to happen. You know what I mean? And his making the right reads, him checking the ball down. The more you check the ball down, the more you get to throw it down the field, which might not seem to make sense for people that don't know what they're talking about. But the more you manage the game and check the ball down, the more shots you can take down the field, because you present more opportunities for yourself to keep having positive plays. So I think that understanding of the offense of when you're taking your educated shots allows you to be more productive.
What was the decision to dismiss John Huggins, and was that yours or the university's?
No, that was ours.
What went into it? Was there an impetus?
Just not living up to what we expected of the Gator standard from him.
And that changed over since last week, since we talked to you. Was it last Tuesday?
It was evolving. There was things we were looking at him to have to do. It was a constant process.
And with his departure, how concerned are you about the depth that's in the secondary?
Next guy's got to step up. I'm concerned about the depth on our entire roster. That's what you're always concerned about, the depth on your roster going into the season. I think you see most teams that have great years tend to stay healthy. I think that's such a huge aspect of it. So I think for us, staying healthy and it allows you to have a better season. To me, that's it's such a huge challenge, because you're trying to control it, you're trying to put guys in good situations, stay healthy, but stuff happens.
And you've been under fire a little bit because of the guys accused with violence toward women. Is it say something though that none of them are here anymore?
I'm comfortable with me, and I'm comfortable with how we run a program, and people outside are going to have their opinion on me, I'm sure, good or bad. I don't pay much attention to it.
Yeah. Miami's named its starting quarterback. Does that change your prep work, and do you expect to see more than one?
I don't know. Yeah, they said Jaron Williams. So we'll look at him. He hadn't played a whole lot. None of their guys have really played a whole lot. So it's not like, okay, now let's go study this guy. And it's, a new coaching staff. So you don't have a lot of film to go on. So I always think in early games, game one, a lot of the focus has to be on you. If you play well, you put yourself in a position to win, more than relying on, hey, we're just going to out-scheme them in some way, shape, or form, because it's game one. You don't have a lot on their team. They got, we have new players. They have new players. They have a new coaching staff, which is a little bit different. I don't know. I haven't been there. I have no idea what Manny and Dan are planning to do with the offensive, whether they're going to rotate guys, get guys in different series, how much of a starter he's been named to, we'll figure it out in 12 days.
And didn't you guys recruit him pretty seriously?
We were recruiting him at Mississippi State. Was I? Is that what it was? Was I here? No. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I knew about him. I mean, I think we recruited him at Mississippi State a little bit, so we know him a little bit. But I mean, that's a couple years ago.
How are the freshman cornerbacks doing? Could some of them get in the game in the opener?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We expect them all to play. They're learning. They're getting a lot of reps, getting rotated into different situations, and obviously, when you get to see them get into the game, and when the season starts, it'll be a little bit different than practice. But they're going to get the opportunity to grow right away this year. So, there's a good chance a bunch of freshmen will probably play and get opportunities this year.
Speaking of freshmen, I know you guys may not need him this year, but Jalen Humphries, where is he at?
He's coming back. He's still dealing with some medical issues, some injuries he came in with. So he has not practiced yet. I mean, he's in our training camp roster, but has not made it to a practice yet. So hopefully he gets healthy in the next couple weeks as we keep moving forward.
Hey Dan, you guys added Brendan Cox. Do you have? Do you anticipate getting applying for a waiver with him?
We're definitely going to apply for a waiver for him. And see. I think we hope we'd feel good about it of having him being able to play. I think you look at all the previous scenarios that are out there around the country that we'd feel that there'd be a good opportunity.
Is there anything that you could kind of share that would?
We're not going to get into that part of it. I mean, we're do it how we do it. Do it through the NCAA. It's not something we're going to try to play out publicly to influence anything one way or the other. We're going to just go through the channels and try and do it the right way.
And after you had hired Manny at Mississippi State, you hired a couple of guys who were kind of similar, in the way that they were pretty energetic, if you will.
Yeah.
Did he kind of reaffirm what you were looking for at that position when you first hired him?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times we had a lot of success with how I created the staff and built the staff. When you look at the other guys we've had most of the time. I mean, not all the time, but we've had a lot of success. I've had a lot of success hiring defensive coordinators and finding how they fit. And a lot of it is making sure you hire somebody that's a great coach, understands how to coach the schematics of defense, has a passion and energy, but also fits what we do as a program. You know what I mean? You look offensively, we've had a lot of guys who've been together a long time. They understand, but we've had some different defensive coordinators, and a lot of them gone. I mean, obviously, a bunch of them gone on to a lot of success. I think three of them have gone on to become head coaches in college. So, of my defensive coordinators, so those guys have had a lot of success. But I think a lot of it is fighting guys that have their personality, that also fit into what we're looking for, which is a defense going to play, 11 guys running the ball, play with great effort. And the energy that they bring kind of helps that personality along.
Who's the third one, by the way? Manny, Jeff.
Carl Torbush, I think, was a head coach for a little bit. No, after he left me. Yeah, I brought him my first year. He was head coach in North Carolina, but then he got a job at a smaller school in Tennessee. But
I was just curious.
Wasn't a coordinator. Then you had Tony Hughes went on to Jackson State. He was just assistant head coach with defense. So.
What was your prior relationship with Cox? It came about pretty quickly. How did it all kind of unfold?
Yeah, I think I knew him recruiting. We recruited him at Mississippi State. He didn't give us a big look out there, but we recruited him a little bit, so I knew him that way. I think he knew a lot of the guys on the team. Understood defensively. He was a great fit for the scheme that we run on defense. The positional fit. And opportunities, not like going real far away from home, or his mom come watch him play still, and be close to home. And I think, with what he knew and the guys on the team, that it was a good fit for him. Talking to guys on our team with how our programs run and what we do, and that would fit him.
Is everything Miami centric now?
No, we're still training camp centric for the next couple of days. It really changes starting Friday. of just our development and making sure we are developed for the season and ready to go, and then it'll all turn on Friday.
And one last thing, special teams play. We haven't asked much about it all this camp. I mean, the kicking game obviously is in good hands, but what do you just feel like the overall? Because last year it made a big jump.
It is huge, and I guess because special teams doesn't get the attention right now, because when you think of special teams, you think of like, okay, punter, same punter, kicker, same kicker. Returners are pretty much the same returners. So, the guys that kind of get individualized out in special teams. But I think, we've done a good job. Our guys are working hard on it, because it's really those guys are a small part of it. It's everybody else that is huge. And so I think we've had a pretty good, we've had a good run of it. We get a lot of reps practice. I haven't set any special teams depth charts. We kind of we'll go 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and guys just getting reps and reps and reps. And then what we'll do is later this week, going into game week, we'll set the depth chart, because of who we expect to be the left guard on punt, and the fold player on kickoff return, or the middle back on kickoff return, on those type things. But I like to kind of get everybody the experience. Everybody gets experience playing special teams, understand special teams individuals, and then we'll kind of place the pieces when we get into the in the game week where we expect to be moving forward for the season, because everybody got the same number of reps.
Do you expect that to take steps there? Because Freddie had, there were some nice seasons there.
Yeah, our specialist guys are pretty good. I feel comfortable with our kickers and our punters and our and our returners. I feel pretty comfortable with those guys, and they have experience. So, to me, it's filling in all the other pieces where you've lost guys. And we did lose a bunch of special teams. We lost a bunch of starters on special teams. There's 88 starting positions on the football team. Interesting way to look at it, right? There's offense, defense, punt, return, kickoff return, field goal, block. There's 88 starting spots. And we did lose a bunch of starters, if you look at all of the 80 out of the 88 starting positions. Yeah, right. Doesn't make sense, does it? Right? It makes sense, right? They keep increasing the length of the season, increasing the number of games, but decreasing scholarship numbers.
Torbush was at East Tennessee State.
There you go. I
you
knew
go.
it was somewhere up there.
Back to Cox for a minute. That came around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think it was 5 days after he entered the portal. Can you give me some background as to how that happens?
Yeah, as soon as he went in, they reached out. Some of the players reached out and said he called some of the players to ask about us. Talking with his high school coach, talking to him, talking to his mom, and it's a unique deal. He, because of the timing, he's not allowed to take an official visit. We asked, we tried to apply, can there be some relief for, it's a part of the transfer portal, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that come up, and it's the first time something like this has come up for us. So they said no, but, and going through everything, I think one of the ones of him wanting to move quickly on it was to get to a school, to be able to, a school and get this waiver process for him started and coming here, so he has the opportunity to play.
Hey, Dan, in your time around Larry Scott, maybe what are some qualities you've seen in him that a program like Miami would have turned to him at midseason, during a coaching change?
Yeah, I can see why now. I didn't know Larry that well before we interviewed him and hired him here. But you can see, he's a guy that has great knowledge, has a great relationship with the players, great knowledge of the game, really good football coach. All around, so you can see, as a guy, if you are stuck in a situation where they're stuck in, where here's a guy that's going to bring great stability with everybody and a great personality to relate to everybody on a team, to finish out the season, and I thought he did a great job with it. I think it was obviously got in the mix. But would have been a great choice for them if they would have promoted him at the end of the season. I think he would have made a great head coach.
With Brenton transferring from inside the SEC, and he's not a graduate transfer, and Georgia's not on sanctions, do you have to file a waiver with the league?
Yeah,
so it's
same waiver.
Okay, so same waiver with NCAA and the SEC.
Yeah.
And then I guess when you're getting into game prep, is there an advantage? Could you have started game prep in Miami and had 2 weeks to do it? Why wait until Friday?
Well, part of it, they cut down the practices of training camps. That maybe was something in the past. I mean, they cut out 4 practices in training camp 2 years ago. So just on the pure numbers of how to prepare guys, you just don't have much time to prepare them. And so much you have to teach. I mean, safety is such a big concern for me. And there's so much you have to teach if you want to keep players safe, and so they cut down practices, more dangerous for the players, and so we got to try to make it safer for the players and make sure we're getting everything taught that we need. They understand the basic fundamentals of everything that's going on. So that's why.
Going back to when you first hired Nick Savage, he was in his late 20s, I think.
All right,
What
who's
was
this?
it?
I missed that at the beginning.
Oh, Nick Savage.
Oh, Nick. Okay.
Mid-late 20s when you first hired him. What was it about him that even at a young age you felt he could spearhead a D1 program, and how have you seen him evolve just in the last few years?
I think one thing that's interesting, we do probably a little bit unique in how we develop our off-season program, our weight room, how I see that position than a lot of people. He was an assistant for us, and so I think there was somebody that when we had a change, he was somebody that understood the program a little bit of what we're looking for. It's hard sometimes to go get outsiders that don't understand what we're trying to accomplish. So he'd been in it for a while. He understood what the program was all about, and but it was a pretty unique deal. I mean, I gave him kind of an interim position at the beginning of December, and I said, you have through the bowl game to prove that you're ready to be the head strength coach. You have the next month. And then after the bowl game, I'll make my decision on what I'm going to do. And, because he was very young. And I wanted to see that, he was going to be in a condensed version. But there's a lot. You touch on a lot in a bowl game. You have kind of a developmental lifting week. And then you kind of have a mini spring ball development training camp week, and then you have a game week, and we had a recruiting weekend. So, in that month of December, there's a lot going on that kind of touches on each little thing, and he did a great job of it. And despite being I thought, here's a guy that I gave him the opportunity, took advantage of it, had juice, had energy, acted, handled whatever got thrown at him in that time period, and give him the he knows what my expectations are and what I want. So, great opportunity for him, and he hasn't let me down since.
Was there anything in particular during that bowl prep where you thought, okay, yeah, he's our guy?
No, I just thought he had great energy, the juice. The players liked him, but he wasn't. The players liked him, but he didn't change. He was demanding. He didn't. He wasn't going to give an inch, and but he understood. He didn't push too far. He didn't try to cross a line to impress me on one way, or cross a line to impress the players or anything. He was just him, and that kind of fit. Oh, Bueller. Right there. Going once, going twice. Oh, no. Okay.
Going back to the tight end, just how pleased are you with that position and all the pieces that you have there? And as a former tight end, are you kind of giddy to get those guys involved?
Well, they're coming along. There's still not a lot of experience, but they do. I think they're working hard. Position we do have, hopefully we got to stay healthy, a little bit of depth, but we do like to, try to create mismatches if you can and move them in different spots out there on the field, and we'll play with multiple tight end sets. So I think they're coming along. We still have some steps that we need to continue to take for consistency of play. I know they can make the plays. We just got to see it on an every down basis.
And then Shawn Davis, his play in fall camp, how great has that been to see?
It's been good. He's come along. I mean, he's worked. He's taken a step forward. He gotten explosive, I think, comfortable in the defense and making calls and getting himself in the right position to make plays. So, that's a big positive. I love seeing the guys grow and develop. What you want to see is, how they keep taking next steps in their careers, which is what we want guys to do. And he's had a pretty good camp.
Is he a guy that's earned more playing time with his play?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Certainly to be in the rotation of guys playing. Going once. Going twice. Sold. We'll see y'all.